Hey, 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 it's that time again. Welcome to the Professor of Perseverance podcast. I'm Dr. James. Perdue. Don't let the doctor get you going and blowing out of the waters or anything. Remember, I can't write out a prescription for you, but I can drive you to your pharmacist if you need me to help get yours. So, thank you again for being here. Hey, we've got an amazing guest here. He's going to share her survival story of cancer. Okay, and it's not just about cancer. It's also about the love, loss, and ultimate realization that hope and true joy always outweighs the struggle. Welcome to the show, to the podcast, Caroline Rose.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming and enlightening us and getting us motivated, inspired, motivated, encouragement, providing hope for us. We all need it.
No, I try.
There we go. Hey, as long as we're trying, we're moving. I don't care. I tell people we may go 2 steps forward and maybe we've got to take 1 step back. That doesn't matter because we're still 1 step in the head in the good.
That's a great way to look at that. I love that.
So, Jay, hey, you got Jay coming in. Jay, thank you for hopping in early with this one with Caroline. She's going to share her story of cancer survivor. All right, Caroline. Hey, thank you for being here. You do have a book in the making. So, if you ever, not if, when you get that done, we'll add it into the notes and the show notes and everything. So just whenever you get it, let us know and we'll push it out there to everybody too as well.
I will. Thank you.
All right, Caroline, again, thank you for being here and then going to encourage us. So let's go ahead and jump in. What is this story you've had? I was reading a minute ago, not one time, but multiple times of a stage 4 type cancer that you survived.
That's right.
So if you go ahead and hop in and tell us, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was, I was first diagnosed in 2004. And, the day I was diagnosed, I still say I was in the very best shape of my life. I was a big marathon runner. I'd just run my 7th marathon. I'd done Boston, New York, and I'd done, I think 3 triathlons and was actually training to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. And when I'd gone to get the blood work and vaccinations, post Africa, that's when they, through the blood work, discovered that my platelets were at a life-threatening level, which then very quickly led to, I think 24 hours later, being diagnosed with a highly aggressive, incurable form of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Wow. Being an athlete myself, and of course mine was injury was from playing football, but being an athlete, to hear a setback like that, I mean, that's kind of difficult because you're thinking, again, I'm in the top performance of my life. I'm the healthiest I've ever been and ready to move forward to tackle the next challenge.
Right.
And then, as well as I do, and I've had the word used to me and my mom, but when you hear the C word, man, you're all of a sudden, thrown for a loop. And a lot of people think it's a death sentence right off the bat.
Right. Yeah. And I think you just said it perfectly. I think, being diagnosed when you are young, and I think there's a component of an athlete, or at least certainly of myself. My friends like to joke, I was the definition of type A. I needed a goal. I was going to achieve it. I was in medical school at the time. I just needed to kind of keep going and going and going and reaching this goal. And I think when that's taken away from you overnight and you really realize that your new job is to rest and heal and sort of get through these treatments, it's almost unbelievable at first. I mean, I think it took a while for it to sink in, but I think then, having the incurable aspect for me, the doctors pretty much from the beginning had said, we can treat you, but we can't cure you. So our goal is to get you into remission. And that just didn't make sense to me because I thought, well, that's not a goal. I want to be cured. I want to, kick this. And so it was very difficult for me to sort of reshift that focus. And then when I did get into remission the first time, it was a very interesting period of sort of living in wait. I was living and I was technically in remission, but I knew the cancer would come back. So what did I do in that time? I mean, I wasn't able to run like I had before. I couldn't go back to school. I couldn't get a job because I was still doing some maintenance treatment. So that was a very, really hard way for me to live. And then when it did come back the second time, it was a relief. It was this, okay, now we can fight it again. Now I can get back into, crossing the treatments off the list and getting through this and doing what I can do to hopefully cure it.
The other part, when you talk about the first remission there, it sounds to me like walking on eggshells. I try to do the best positive can, but I know what's going to happen or can happen.
Right.
And then it's like the old thing when you tell people, hurry up and wait.
Yes. 1,000%. I mean, 1,000%. And I think most people would agree that have been through some sort of a life altering, situation, diagnosis, whatever it was. I think that the emotional component, it is that the physical is tough, no doubt about it, but it's the emotional component and how you sort of restructure and reframe your emotional state and really your life, your outlook, your positivity. It has some amazing benefits if you're able to sort of get through the yuck to those. But it's a process getting there. And it's the hardest thing I've ever done. And that hurrying up and waiting, it was a horrible thing for me. It was like a type A personality's worst nightmare. But, fast forward, I think that was 17 years ago that I was initially diagnosed. And I mean, it's a joke in my family. I can't make a decision to save my life. I am the most whatever, I don't know. I think I embraced it a little too fully because now I'm just the opposite. I'm like a B-, type B-, C+, whatever it is. So, it transforms you, but man, it is not an easy transformation.
I can see your family going like this when you're going, oh yeah, okay. Being the type A, I can see, and then you're going, oh, okay. And they're going, what's wrong with her? She's not anal. She's not being anal over here. What's going on?
I mean, it is. I think they just coined a term for me. My kids did that. What do they call it? They call it PTD, postpone the decision. They're like, oh, mom's just going to PTD that one, because I do it all the time. It's
we learned when we're young. We learned young when you go ask your mom and dad something, and they'll say, "Well, maybe I'll think about it." Then we come to find out that means no. They're just being polite about. They're being polite about it. So
that's so true. That's very true.
So all right. So now, wow. So you're having to deal with this, and now you're still dealing with it because they said it's incurable.
That's
so
right.
You're basically living life the best as you can, but waiting, knowing there's going to be another event coming.
Yeah, I think that when I was first diagnosed and they came to me and said, it's, as I said, it's incurable, it's aggressive, it's everywhere in your body. I remember that first night after I had, after I'd completed all the stage testing, all the biopsies, we'd met with the doctor and really had all the information, and I came home that night and we were in Houston. We were at MD Anderson at the time. My aunt and uncle live in Houston, so we were at their house. And my uncle came in that night, and he is a man of few words. We haven't had a lot of just real deep discussions in our life because he's on the quieter side, but very wise. And I remember he came into my room that night, and I was distraught. And I remember so well. He said, "Caroline, here's the thing. At the time, he was involved with MD Anderson, and he said, I've just been in these meetings with doctors and researchers. There is so much happening. There's so much research going on. There's so many drugs that are being developed and that are in the pipeline, and they're just not on the market yet. And they may not be for your particular type of cancer, but it shows you all the exciting things that are getting ready to come out. And your goal right now, you can't say, I want a cure. You need to buy time. Because if you can do the best option you have available today, chances are, if that buys you a couple years or whatever it is, there will be another treatment option available when you need it. And that kind of made sense to me. I could grasp that. So that's what I did. And I got through, went into remission. It came back. I did my first bone marrow transplant, went back into remission. And in my mind, I was kind of hopeful because transplants can potentially be curative. We weren't sure, but I was hopeful. And then the third time it came back, that third time hit me harder than the other two for many reasons. But number one, I was a mom at that point. I had a 2-year-old and a 5-week-old. And number two, I really, in my heart, for some reason at that point, thought I was cured. I really didn't think I was going to have to battle this, but I did. And we went back to my doctors, and sure enough, there was a brand new clinical trial that was happening. Brand new. There were 68 patients. I was accepted as number 66. And that was, oh gosh, 11 years ago. And so you look at the data now, about 10, 11 years out, and I think it's over an 80% success rate. So they don't know if they can call that curative. They won't know for a while, but it's the best, it's the best percentage I've been given. And it's really exciting. And so my chances now of developing a secondary cancer are much higher than my original lymphoma ever coming back, which is scary on one hand. In a weird way, I feel like I know my lymphoma. I feel like I know what to look for. I know the deal. I don't know what another cancer looks or feels like. And I think we all struggle with not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow, and it's scary. But I think when we learn to balance the fear a little bit, I always find my uncle's words so helpful in so many scenarios in life. It's just buy time, just get through till tomorrow, or get through until 5 minutes from now. And it could be better, could be easier. There could be something else to help you through.
This clinical trial you're involved in, I'm assuming it's more than just taking blood work then to look at. Do you have paperwork you have to fill out? Like, what was your mood like last week? How
yeah.
positive did you get depressed? And
100%.
from there. And I would like to know from the research, how many people, what's the percentage that people maintain a positive attitude compared to fell into depression, and then see the results. Like you said, I could tell with being an athlete. I've learned a long time ago. Here's how you determine your athletes that win championships and ones that finish second. And it's not just nothing. I've never done a research or anything. Just my optimism watching. So the ones that can self-control the positivity and know that I made an out, or I missed a shot, or I dropped that touchdown pass, or I fumbled the run, whatever, that they can throw it out and give me the next play. The ones that hang on to that gummit, I struck out, and I got to face him again. And so I can tell with the positivity that you got on that you're able to push that away. But as well too, not everybody's like that. So I would like to know.
Right.
I would like to know in a like the clinical you were in, that how many, what was the positive rate compared to depression rate, okay, and then what were the outcomes compared to the two. So
I think that's really, really interesting.
Because I'm a firm believer that
Yeah.
we need to stay positive as much as possible, and it's going to help. Now we're going to have those lows. We know that. It's just how long you stay in there compared to hopping out.
Right. Well, I think you're right. I think that there's a direct correlation, and many times probably the difference maker, 1,000%. I think that would be a really interesting statistic to see.
And Jay had a stroke when he was younger. Him and I went to things. So that was me, the strikeout king. No, Jay, I wouldn't say you struck out all the time, buddy. But Jay. I'm sorry to mention that, but Jay had a stroke as he was young. Him and I went to school together, graduated together, and so Jay's a good one. So Jay, thank you for coming in, and Jay's got a strong family support as well. So
that's amazing.
That's another issue is you got to have a great support system.
Oh, 1,000%. And I was so lucky to have that. I mean, I could not have done it without them. I could not have done it without. And even still today, there are side effects that I manage, and many days that I'm not able to, you know, be a mom or be a normal, do what I normally do. And I couldn't do it without my family. No way. No, not at all. And my kids are getting old enough, they're 11 and 13, that they really are able to sort of be independent and help out a little bit. And I've never wanted to worry them with what I've gone through, but I've always tried to be honest in an age appropriate way and using words and terms. And, when you were just talking about striking out, it's interesting. My son loves baseball. He loves it. It's his life, I mean, he would love to meet you. I mean, that's just everything, and, I haven't actually talked about this before, but he's a pretty good little player, and I've realized he puts a lot of expectation on himself. And if he strikes out, or if he, overthrows something, throwing it into wherever, he was really hard on himself. And it's hard to watch because we know, everyone makes a mistake and no one's perfect, and you can't hit a triple every time you're up at bat. So I actually kind of started working with a sports psychologist, really, to kind of help him manage his emotions and gain those tools. And I have learned so much through sort of sitting in and listening. And she really talks about like focusing in on the ball. And we were talking about it in the car the other day, and he was talking about what he learned. And I thought, gosh, you can apply that in life. I mean, you really can use these things and these lessons you learn. It's breathing, it's focusing in, and it's, how you manage emotion, right? And it's just, I mean, I know I had to learn it the hard way, but my hope is that he is prepared a little bit, yes, for baseball, but also really for life, and sort of when he feels this stuff, what to do with it.
Channel your emotions and use it for the good, So, that's the old, the Kung Fu thing with Master and the Grasshopper, Grasshopper, channel your emotions and use it for the good. Now, here's a great thing to tell your son, that go look up anybody that's in the Hall of Fame. How do you determine a baseball player is successful? When they get 3 hits out of 10. That means they failed 70% of the time. 7 out of 10 they were out. To be successful in baseball, if you can get 3 hits out of 10 and fail 7 times, you're doing great. So you just got to remember the cycle. You just have to be successful in baseball 3 out of 10 times to be able to. So be sure, just tell them that on that. If you didn't get a hit or whatnot that time, remember, you just got to get 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. 3 out of 10. That might be my new life motto.
But the sports, and as an athlete, teaches us a lot of things: how to work as a team, how to work to do our own thing to get prepared for a game. Teaches how to win in life, lose in life, and a lot of things that sports can teach us. So I'm glad you seek for him the sports psychologist to help out. And again, I'm glad you went for the twofer, so you can get the lessons that you're paying for him.
Yes, we try to make it count.
That's right. So, all right, now we mentioned about, and again, the support system is far beyond than your medical. The doctors and nurses and things. It goes back home, husband, your children, your friends, and things like that as well. So, I would hate to think that I had a doctor who goes, "Yeah, your spinal cord injury. Forget walking. I got to go, man."
Yeah.
I'd hate to think and I'm sure there's some out there, but I'm glad I didn't. For one, they tried to tell me what is still possible.
1,000%. Yes, I think that if I've learned, one of the main things I've learned is we never know in life, right? You never know what's going to happen, and very few things are certain. And my dad's a doctor. I get the percentages and I understand all that, but I also think there's always a chance, right? Like you got to be real careful when doctors start throwing around, certainties, I guess. And, I ended up finding a doctor that is so near and dear to our heart. You know, he been with them, I guess, about 15 years. And the last appointment we had with them, I took my son, Tommy, and he hadn't seen Tommy since he was, I think, a baby. So over 10 years. And I took Tommy because I knew it was going to be a good appointment. And, you know, we were going to be kind of reflecting on, you know, 10 years in remission and where do we go? And this is a success. And he spent 2 hours with us. And, you know, Tommy had a football with him. And afterwards, we went in the hall and he started throwing the football with Tommy. It was late on a Friday. Everybody else was home. And he just needed, you know, like, I think he needed to be reminded why he does what he does. You know, this was his patient that he's seen through thick and thin. We made a judgment call to do this clinical trial. We knew the risks were high. It turned out very well. Most people have done well. And that was an appointment where we could look back and he could say, listen, I was really scared that this, and this were going to happen. And I remember saying, I had no idea. And he said, you didn't need to know, because he was okay shouldering those worries and concerns and fears for me, because he knew that was not going to benefit me in my healing. And I just think that type of doctor who's willing to do that, they are rare, and they are just golden. If you can find one, I mean, to be able to really trust and depend on your doctor it is such a gift.
I can understand him holding back on some of the side effects, the possibilities, because he wants you to stay positive to go through. I would think that if you were to go, all right, doc, what's the side effects? Then he would have to be open and honest and tell you. But
yes.
especially if you started having some of the side effects,
of course,
then he would have to explain about that if you ask.
yes.
I can understand, because we want everybody to be as positive to get through this. It's a better outcome if we can, and I can understand that.
And I think it was maybe more, I didn't realize the decisions he had to sort of make back on when we were entering the clinical trial. And it was, I guess, half went and had radiation along with the chemo with the bone marrow transplant. And it was a question of which category to put me in, you know, and it was that for him, I think, was the bigger decision. And all the doctors meet as a group and a team, and they discuss it. And he told us, you know, all these years later, they were split 50-50. So half thought radiation, half thought not. And he was kind of the ultimate decider. And he said not. And he didn't know for years if that was the right choice. And then it did turn out that the group that had the radiation, for whatever reason, in these specific circumstances, there were some other complications that arose that the other group tended to not have. Not that always happens with radiation, but just with this circumstance, it was. And so I think he really shouldered that anxiety of not knowing, you know, and it was just, I really was so grateful that I wasn't spending every day afterwards like, okay, well, I'm doing well, but I don't know, because, you know, and I think, again, to your point, it's just that emotional weight that I didn't have made such a difference in being able to sort of try to let go and move on and heal from every bit of, you know, physical and emotional trauma that you go through when you go through something like that.
Now, how long you say you've been in remission now?
This is my 11th. This is 10 years. I'm just going into my 11th year.
10th or 11th year. Hey, my man AQ is coming in. Ingrid Quad. Hey, he's coming in. Clinical trials are very, very head on, but exciting. Yeah. Hey, this man here, Angry Quad AQ. He volunteers into several trials to help out the spinal cord injury groups. So I'm thankful for him getting out there to help people in the future.
Yeah.
With spinal cord injuries, help them find a cure, and of course, he may find something that's benefit him tremendously as well. But just think what's helping in the future. Same thing with you went through your clinical trial. We hope for the best, hope that you gain from it, but think of how you're helping the people that's not even born yet. You know, things like that. How it's going to improve.
Right.
So, All right. So, but before we get going any further here, show everybody your lap warmer.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
Okay, well,
she didn't go on
hang
the
on.
floor.
Come here, Stinky. Come here. Come on, little angel. He's right here. Oh,
Hey, there he is. Oh, let everybody see
I
that
say
beautiful
hi.
face. There you go.
There he
Hey,
is.
buddy.
This is Axel Rose.
Axel Rose. Hey, another Rose at the end of the name. Axel Rose.
This is
All
Axel
right.
Rose, and he is the fun. We've never had a pug. And he just sort of came into our lives, and he is the funniest dog in the world. But I'm a huge believer in animals and their healing powers, and I've seen it every day of my life. I've seen it for my kids. I've seen it for so many others, and I think dogs are essential. They are
Hey,
just essential.
I had that service dog, Black Lab. He'll be turning 13 this year. He's getting
Mm,
older,
oh my
and
goodness.
so um, yeah, it's great because I'll take him to the store with me, and it's amazing how many
Yeah,
people he attracts. And
yeah.
what gets to me is like these animals, they have a healing power.
Yes, they
Uh,
do.
People come up to him and they'll start crying when they're
Yeah,
petting him, and they'll ask, "Can they pet?" Because he's a service dog, and I tell them, "Yeah, we get to meet new people." But
yeah,
some that cry, they'll go, "I just had to put my dog down 6 months ago," and then they're
yeah,
hugging all over him, and
yeah.
so just to help with that healing, it's awesome.
Oh,
So
1000%. I had a service dog who passed about 4 years ago, and I actually found him during that period I was kind of referring to after my first diagnosis, kind of living in wait. He turned into my project. He was being put down. He'd been horrifically abused. It was pretty awful when I found him, but we found each other, and he became my project, and I sort of rehabilitated him, and we bonded and just had this beautiful journey together. And what he did for this world, that the lives he touched. And um, the book I wrote actually is one long letter to him, and sort of what he taught me, and what he did for me, what he did for others. And I've always loved animals, but I've never understood how powerful their love can be. It's not so much an accessory, it's a necessity, and it is more powerful than most therapies I've seen, emotional therapies. And it's incredible.
oh yes, AQ, got to have a beast.
Yeah.
Got to have a beast.
Yes, you do.
Hey,
You do.
in USA live stream. Hey, thank you for coming in. 2 thumbs up. Hey, thank you for at me, Professor Perseverance, and talking about the animal healings. He said that's true as well.
And
AQ says he'll be listening. He's always working on something, so he's probably listening along. So, and yes, you're right. USA live stream. The unconditional love that these animals can have, and so the organization I got my canine from, Ricardo. So I don't. They use inmates to help with their raising, to help training prison inmates. So my buddy, my Ricardo, he spent time behind bars with an inmate,
that's
and I
amazing.
said
Yeah.
if Ricardo could talk, he could tell some stories.
You
I'm
could tell
sure.
some stories. How
Yeah,
old was he when Ricardo came to you?
I got him when he was 2 years old. So I've had
Okay.
him nearly 11 years nearly.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
he's my first service dog, and he's been the best, the amazing service
Yeah.
dog that I've ever seen. Now, I did see a documentary where they were talking about these inmates that build up their trust, build up their value, and they get to work with these dogs to
Yeah.
help. So now these inmates are helping people in the
Sure.
community now, and
It's
so now
amazing.
they're feeling it worthwhile that they're able to contribute to society they
Yeah.
once couldn't do. Now, here was a sad part about one one dog was being taken away from this one guy because the time and the training was up. It's time for the dog to go get some different training to go home now. And
Hmm.
this guy was crying that this dog was leaving in this
Hmm.
documentary. And he went on and said, just like USA said here, he was receiving some unconditional love from this dog
Hmm.
that he never got from his own parents, is what he told. And
Yeah.
so that's sad to think that people go through not getting this unconditional love, you
Yeah.
know, from a
Yeah.
parent. And I know it's out there, and I'm sorry people go through that.
Yeah.
Wow. So
That is incredibly powerful. You know, I
yes,
think I I think dogs love, I think I've realized that as humans, we're imperfect. We try, but even, with our family, our parents, our loved ones, we're not perfect and we hurt people. We don't mean to. And humans are complicated, but a dog is not complicated. And that love is so predictable and consistent and simple, really. And I always say that dog's love kind of fills in the cracks that humans, unintentionally leave in our hearts, and
I,
it makes it whole.
I saw this one dog. I'd missed that he got hit by a car. I didn't see that. But when
Mhm.
I come around the curve, I saw a car already pulled over, and this dog, you can see where he got hit, and it was paralyzed in the back end. And it was
Mhm.
a black lab. And you can see him dragging himself to get off the road. You know,
Mhm.
survival of instinct is kicked in. You know, I can't
Mhm.
walk the dog, but I want to live. So, and
Mhm.
I said, isn't it a shame that we as humans are on the higher chain of evolution to be able to think things out? But sometimes we're too high because we
Mhm.
think too much. You could have easily, with your diagnosis, I could have easily, with my spinal cord injury, somebody else could have easily gone, oh me, what am I going to do now? I might as well give up. I can't have the life that I want. Oh, poor, pitiful me. When we need to have a dog, cat, snake. I'm
Mhm.
not a snake fan. I think they're beautiful, but I don't want to play with them. Okay.
Mhm.
But if whatever somebody can use as their own pet, uh, if we had their survival instinct
Mhm.
just to live another day, that dog is dragging himself off the road because he wanted to live another day. But
Mhm.
again, he wasn't laying on the road going, poor pitiful me. He knew he had to get off that street. And
Yeah.
sometimes we overcomplicate things
Mhm.
instead of going the easy route in
Mhm.
life.
That's so true. I love that. I love that.
So, well, Carolina, boy, so now how, going to tell us, how are you able to maintain this positivity?
I think I had to get to a place where I accepted that my life is not what I thought it was going to be. I'm not a doctor and I'm not running marathons. And um, I think once I accepted it, that didn't mean I was happy with it, but it kind of put me on the path to being able to see the beauty on the other side. And once I started to see a little bit, I saw more, and then I saw a little bit more. And then I think it's at the end of the day, probably my kids. I mean, I've got two kids that are depending on me, which makes it scary as hell. The stakes are so high, it puts a lot more fear in me.
And
But
you
I
definitely
think
got a husband that you got to depend on.
that's right.
Well, I'm not married or anything like that, but I know if he's like most men, he gets a code and he's going, Caroline. Have you
Mm.
seen those commercials? Caroline, get up and get over here. You just got a code. So,
That's so funny. Yes, I know exactly. That's hysterical. That is so funny.
so well,
Yeah.
well, you're an amazing woman to go through everything you've gone through with the health issues, and it's remarkable. Again, I have no doubt in my mind being positive is a big step towards going through. Again, fighting, living for your children,
Yeah.
and again, setting a great example for them in life, not to give up and go fight and do the best you can.
Right.
So it's got an amazing story. Hey, you want to tell everybody how we can they can get a hold of you later on? And again, once our book becomes published, I'll get it in the show notes later on, and we'll push that out as well. But if you can tell everybody how to get a hold of you, maybe somebody can get you to come speak or something.
Well, I would love that. Yeah, my website is dearrileyrose.com, and it's the same for Instagram, which is those two are probably the best way to find me for sure.
All right, and I'll get that in the links and the description as well. So,
Okay.
all right, Caroline. Now, before we get off here, I asked my guest, we know somebody's struggling today. If you can give a powerful message that's going to help them get through today, and
Mhm.
then we'll move on.
I would say I go back to my uncle's words and I say, a situation might seem hopeless, but I think if you're able to readjust your goal and your focus, and if you're able to kind of take baby steps to do whatever you need to do to buy time and live another day, I think when you keep taking those baby steps, you'll be amazed at where you'll end up. And I think that when you're least expecting it, you're going to look up and there is going to be something waiting that you never really thought would be there, whether it's another treatment option, a person, an animal, something or someone put in your path that you found because you had the courage to keep taking those baby steps and buying time.
Amen, sister. So, and USA, blessings to Mel. Thank you, appreciate that, and to
Yeah.
you, Carolina, and God bless everybody.
Thank
So,
you.
thank you,
Thank
USA. So, and Caroline, thank you for being on. You're awesome. Don't let
you.
anyone tell you any different. I don't think that you would believe them if they did. So with your positivity, and I'm glad of that. So everyone else that's coming in on the replay, be sure to go check out on Caroline's website. Go find her Instagram. Again, if nothing else, do the old Google search, and you'll find her somehow that way. But I'll
That's
put
right.
everything in the description as well. And be sure to share this out to someone. Someone struggling. The message is still the same. They don't have to be going through cancer. They don't have to be a spinal cord injury, but they're going through something. The message is still the same. Their hope is being provided for them. Encouraging, fire them up, get them motivated, get them inspired.
That's
So
right.
everyone else, thank you for this. Thank you for. I go to my website. I've just come out with a new book and a mini course. You can get a free mini course and get an ebook, and it's called "Your Past Doesn't Have a Future, But You Do." Create your future today. So go to professorofperseverance.com, get your free mini course and ebook. Go to Amazon, you get the real book. And so thank you for that. I know that's a shameless plug, but when you get your book out, you can do the same thing, Caroline.
Love it. I love it.
All right, everybody else do something today, tomorrow, something next week that's going to help you persevere past your paralysis.